All right. So this will be part 3 of mental conditioning. So the last one we left off, we're talking about where this society gets its behaviors and its social norms and morals or lack thereof, standards, ethics or lack thereof, where all of these concepts are being defined by they're being defined by the obvious dominant class, which is the pale faces, as a collective, not all of them. I'm not talking shit about the whole group. I'm not really even talking shit. I'm just stating the facts about their particular group. You know what I mean? And all of this is reproducible. As far as the information, it's researchable. You know what I mean? And honestly, you don't really even have to go far. Just turn on your TV, and you'll see violent programs, cop programs. You'll see cop programs that are talking about kids being raped and gang raped, and the detectives that solve that. I mean, you just see all of this. None of that is healthy. But you got to understand that the ones in charge are not healthy, so of course their societal structure is not healthy. This is mental conditioning that you think that this is normal. You see, I forget the name of that stuff. Like, take for instance boxing. You think boxing is good? You're literally watching two people punch themselves in the face until they fucking are knocked out. There is nothing healthy about that. Nothing. It's disgusting. But here in Babylon, it's held in high regard, even by those that participate in that. There was a time when that was two brothers forced against their will to kill one another, all for the pleasure of the pale faces, because they like to watch people die. There's a difference here, y'all. Melanated beings, you see, we create energy because we are energy itself. Therefore, we create energy, right? They are a parasitic type of creature, which means they can't create their own energy. They can only steal or siphon other energy. So basically what they've done is tricked the majority of the melanated beings on this planet into thinking that violence and hatred and intolerance, that these are all characteristics that should define a society. Meanwhile, that none of that's true. In fact, that's dangerously untrue, right? And look where it takes us. Look at it. You can't even have a discussion with somebody without them wanting to pull out a gun and shoot you. You really want to kill me because you can't understand my point of view? Or you want to harm me because you don't like my way of life? Well, who the fuck are you? You're nobody. Well, to the pale faces, they think that they are gods and goddesses, but unfortunately for them and what they're going to learn, and what many of them are already learning, nothing could be farther from the truth. Hell, they can't even survive the sun. I'm doing just fine, though. How about you? Anyways, I'm not here to down anybody necessarily, but I will keep it real, and we have to be honest about these things. And the mental conditioning that so many of my brothers and sisters are under is literally coming from the same oppressive class that they rape children. I can't. There's nothing else more that I could say beyond that. They like to rape children. They eat children, right? They used to feed little black babies to alligators and take pictures and send those pictures as postcards. If you can't see how disgusting that is, you will. You're just still sleeping right now, right? But You have to understand that there is nothing good about those people. There's nothing good about this society. Even though you've been conditioned to think that there is, but in reality, nothing could be farther from the truth. And you're going to learn this. This is all part of the awakening process. As you awaken, you will begin to see how disgusting this society is as it falls apart. You know what I mean? And so you really have to begin. I mean, this is a great time to really begin to isolate yourself from the you that you've been conditioned to think is you. Now, going back to the first video, a part of that is wishing punishment on others. And I understand. Trust me, this lesson is not easy. It's not easy, okay? Because when you think about the brother or sister that murdered another brother or sister, or sings about murdering another brother or sister, or degrading women, or watching mothers that kill their children, you know what I mean? Like, your ego and the mental conditioning make you feel like you want that individual punished. They deserve to be punished. They deserve to go to jail. Well, no, actually they don't. They need to have a discussion with the collective whole of us that says, hey, black people, this is how we behave, right? We are telepathic. We are such an amazing creature. We don't even need cell phones because we are all one. Therefore, we are all one mind. And so whatever one mind thinks, we all think. Now, that doesn't mean we don't each have our own personal, unique ideologies, behaviors, things like this. But what that means is we're not going out of our way. We don't think about nasty things because who has time to think about something gross when we're building universes, when we're building planets, when we're coming together collectively and we're talking about the structure of the universe? Who's got time to want to rape a kid when you're building a planet from scratch? You know what I mean? Who's got time for all of that? Not us. We don't even have the genetic makeup, really, to do that. Now, does that mean that there aren't some exceptions? Of course, people. Understand when I speak, I'm not speaking in absolution. I'm speaking in generalization, which means the majority of us are not this way, right? But there are some exceptions. Understand, as a collective, we live in hell. Right now, America, and honestly, for most part, the globe, because WS is all across the globe, and anywhere there's WS, black people are at the bottom. And that's because in WS's eyes, when we're successful, they're not. But they have to understand that that's the way nature made them. Nature made them subservient. The pale-faced gene is a recessive gene naturally. The black melanated gene is a dominant gene naturally. In genetics, we are naturally dominant. That's the way nature made us, right? Understand that. That's very important to understand. There is nothing recessive about us, even though that mental conditioning has made many of you think that there is. It's even made some of you go to the degree that you would want to rip your skin off, that you would want to try to remove your melanin. Don't worry. And I'm not passing judgment on you. Although my eyes might be worried because I'm concerned for you, but I'm not judging you. I would not walk up to you and say, oh, you're ripping your skin off, you self-hater, I'm going to punish you. No. I would hold you. I would give you a big brother hug and say, baby, listen to me. You're going to be all right. We are here and we are wakening up, and I see you. I know you. I feel you. Let me love you. Let me help you. not let me punish you. I don't want to punish you. I want to hold you. Now, does that mean that I want to hold you naked and be caressing all? No, my angels, no. We're not overly sexualized. You guys, we used to bathe together and nobody was getting raped. There was no such word as that. We would bathe each other naked. Who cares? My point is, there are different ways of handling situations. You know, when somebody makes a mistake, you don't necessarily want to punish them. Now, I'm only referring to melanated people, melanated beings. I'm not talking about anybody else. There are others that are sociopathic in nature. That's a whole other discussion for another time. I'm only focused on my community. I'm melanated. My community is melanated. That's the only discussion I'm bringing forth right now, right? So when I see one of my fallen brothers and sisters, now before, I'm not going to lie to you, I did think, oh, I want to see them punished. Or if somebody would come against me, oh, I want to see them punished. I did think that. I really did. But I'm learning. And you know what's crazy about that? Not really crazy, but what's interesting, it wasn't until I read the book called The Kabbalion by the Three Initiates that I realized, my God, we are all one. And me wanting to see any one of us punished for what we've done is absolutely asinine. Because we're the same creature. So if I want to see you punished for what you've done, then basically what I'm doing is punishing part of myself. Why? Mental conditioning. You've been conditioned by your oppressor to self-sabotage and to want to punish yourself, essentially, for the sins that they claim are sins. People, you're taking cues from a race that would literally cut out newborn babies from pregnant mothers and stomp them to death. Or they would lynch the mother. Now keep in mind, there's a difference between lynching and hanging. What's the difference, you asked? Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. Lynching usually is when the person is pulled up into a tree, meaning that death occurs by suffocation. Suffocation could take 10 to 15 minutes depending upon the individual. That's 10 to 15 minutes of agony. That's like George Floyd, right? Hanging usually occurs from the gallows, or it would occur from you would be up, you would be elevated, the floor would be kicked out, or the stool or whatever would be kicked out from under you. You would fall to your death. Usually the death would occur by your cervical vertebrae in the back being snapped, which is an instantaneous death. No pain, no suffering, right? That's the difference between hanging and lynching. So lynching is so much more disgusting and painful. And black people, you're taking the cues by which you live, by which you have based your core belief system off the same race of people that would gather around after church, mind you, and lynch a black child. Now, before that black child was lynched, usually a he, now sometimes it was a she, but generally it was a he was tortured. He was gang sodomicized. His fingers would be chopped off and sold as souvenirs. His ears, his nose, his tongue, his eyes would be gouged out. These are all souvenirs. His teeth would be pulled out while he's alive. These are all sold as souvenirs, or in some cases given away as souvenirs, right? Black people, that mental conditioning is coming from the same people that used to do this. And honestly, they still do it today. Nothing has changed. It might not be as, you see, if you look for the media, since they control the media, of course they're not going to tell you what they're really doing. They're just going to give you some bullshit to make you think what they're doing. But the truth is, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. They still do terrible things. My point here is, it's a good time to start analyzing your own thoughts so that you know who you are versus the you that they told you you are. Because what your open enemy and oppressor want you to believe about yourself is really projection of who they are they put onto you. I mean, the word, let me give you an example of what I'm saying. In Mama Africa, in our ancestral villages and nations and stuff, there was no word for rape or pedophilia because either one of those atrocities existed, right? Well, the word and subsequent definition was created by the Palefaces as a collective. That gives you an idea of their operating low vibration. These are the things they do. Hell, they just busted a neo-Nazi organization that they called themselves the Rape Krieg or something like that. They wanted to go around murking people and raping women to try to build up their population. This is the same people that you are taking your mental cues from. I can't even say anything more than that. If you want to take your mental cues from the same people that want to go on a raping spree, you're still asleep. And you will awaken. You know, I don't want to see you punished. I want to hug you. I want to hold you. I want you to know that it's going to be all right. And we're all going to be returning to one here very soon, my people. No worries. What is in store for us is an inevitability. And it's going to be so great. I already feel it, you know what I mean? Like, I am tapped into the energy of not only the cosmos, but the planet itself. And I'll tell you what, I know things are kind of ugly right now, but like I told you in the first video, if you knew that you were going to go through a bad experience, but you knew that that bad experience would take you to the greatest best life you've ever lived, wouldn't it be worth it? Wouldn't it be worth a little bit of pain and a little bit of agony and suffering to go through to start a new life where those things no longer exist? You understand? That's the point that we find ourselves at right now. Excuse me a quick second. That's the point we find ourselves at. So when I see, you know, melanated beings wilding out, I'm like, I don't want to see anything bad happen to you, because I know that you're confused. You've been taking your verbal cues from an oppressor that is a disgusting creature that has never meant you any good, and so many of you are tricked by them. You don't deserve punishment. You don't. You need a hug. You know what I mean? You need to be loved. You need to know what unconditional love is. You need to know that if you make a mistake, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to hold you. I'm still going to be right there letting you know, hey, I know you messed up. I messed up. Guess what? I still love you. And we're still going to get through this together, right? I got your back. And that doesn't mean that fake ass shit. Again, people, moving forward into the future, you've got to get rid of America. You've got to get rid of all of the mental conditioning that America has put through your mind to make you think like Most people that say, I got your back, when they say they got your back, they really mean they're sticking a dagger in it. That's not who I am. I'm not here to, I'm not that kind of individual. And if you knew me on a personal level, you would know that I am a very loving, cuddly, affectionate creature. I don't even like killing bugs, truthfully. And I have a strange new obsession with feeding birds now. Like, it's totally crazy. And actually, you know what? Birds are so amazing. They're actually ancestors. But they communicate telepathically. And it was so funny the other day. Just a quick tangent here. I'm sitting in the office out here. I work in a bleach factory. And all of a sudden, like, it's morning time, and a black bird image pops into my mind, and he's like, "Yo, where's breakfast at?" I'm like, "What's going on here?" You know what I mean? Am I getting a telepathic message from a black bird? Right? Okay. So I'm like, whatever. I can dig it. You know what I mean? So I get a couple things together, and I'm about to go out back and give him some breakfast, and on the railing, that black bird that was in my mind is on the railing. Now, you can't tell me that bird did not project. It telepathically communicated with me. It told me, "Hey, I'm hungry. Can you get us some breakfast?" And I'm like, he's sitting outside the door. He put People, all I can tell you is keep your mind open. Because that mental conditioning limits your mind. Religion limits your thinking. You know, you're expecting this little shriveled up white pruny man to come out of the sky and save your ass. Not happening. Doesn't even exist. What does exist is you and your soul, right? And us. And the universe and our ancestors. We exist. We are real. We are tangible. You can touch, feel us, taste us, whatever. Fake white Jesus, you can't do any of that shit, right? There's a reason why, okay? Anyways, I got off on a tangent with the birds there, but the point is, you've got to break that psychosis, that mental conditioning that tells you you are less than what you are and that you can't do what you really can do. You got to break it. Honestly, because, and even if you're slow at it, don't worry, because like I told you, as we awaken, you will awaken. The ancestors put into play certain energy expressions. I just happen to be one of those energy expressions. I mean, of course it was self-chosen, but so my point there is, we're the chosen ones. We're not better than anybody else. We are just the first ones to awaken. You know what I mean? Because we are the catalyst that must awaken the masses so that we can work on rebuilding a new world. You know, I used to think that not everybody's gonna make it, right? That and you know what? Part of me, I didn't even want all of us to make it. That was my ego. My ego was saying, well, those that trespass against me, I want them gone. Yeah, but there's no place for the ego where we're going. So guess what I learned? I don't want... We're all going to make it. We are all going to be at the same place. I'm only talking about melanated beings. All others, I don't know about you, okay? I can't help you. This video is not for you. This video is for melanated beings only. Now, you can watch it, but I can't help that. There's no information I can give you. All of this, what I'm talking about, pertains to only melanated individuals. Anyways, so that my desire to be like, well, not everybody's going to make it, it's gone. I don't even think that way anymore, because now I know we're all going to make it. We'll just wake up at different times, that's all. But just because you sold me out or you've come against me, it doesn't mean that I want to see you punished or I want to see you hurt. It means that we got some work to do, and I'm a healer, and guess what? I'm here to heal. Now, does that mean that I'm going to go running around in the current state of the affairs that the world is in and try to heal? No, it does not. That would be a suicide mission, right? it's a very broken world. You know, there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of deceit. It's still quite violent. You know, while all of these things are in play, we're in isolation. I mean, I've been in isolation for a while because for our safety. You know what I mean? The ancestors are not in the universe. They're not going to risk the ones to bring forth the future for some bullshit. I'll talk later.